Everybody listening, welcome back. This is the Creative Curiosity podcast, but this is Square Eyes segment episode 2. And today I've got my mate Tia and my sister Baba on here today. And our first topic we're going to be talking about is Black Panther. Baba's got her regalia on. I'm sure she would have dressed up more than that if she had more. But yeah, Black Panther. I'll start with you, Baba, because I know this is your number one. You were born for this.
Oh, where do I start? I don't know. I think it was definitely like a revolutionary movie. Revolutionized everything. I remember the first time I watched it, I knew nothing about it. It's funny because I saw Amber Riley play Mercedes
in Glee. Yeah.
For her 30th birthday, she put out a post, everyone go watch Black Panther, because it came out the same day.
Yeah. So on her birthday.
Yeah. And so me and Media had just got into Dunedin. This was in 2018, started 2018. And I was like, oh, look, Black Panther's coming out soon. Should we go watch it? Yeah. So it's like that week we got there, it was just us two there went.
What?
We were like, oh, all our mates hadn't got there yet. So we were all good. Went there the first time, not expecting anything because I didn't know much about him. And then I was just watching it and I was like crying.
Did your arms come up like this?
I was on the edge of my seat and I was just like, what? And because me and Media, we sat there was a seat, you know how Tia was talking about you need space on each side of you? Yeah, so there was like me, a seat, and Media again, or 2 seats, I don't know. But each scene that was, I don't know, like a magical scene just got to you. We just look at each other, not say any words, just look at each other, knew what we were trying to say, and then, I don't know, bit of watery eyes, and then turn back at the screen.
I see you.
Yeah, and I know the first time I actually cried was the Warrior Fall scene.
The first Warrior Fall scene?
Yep, and I was like, this is beautiful.
And everyone's doing this.
And they just came, Tuchalalo. Look over this beauty.
Yeah.
That
That's
was
a good bit.
Just amazing. Changed my life forever, clearly.
Yep. Look.
And then went to watch it 3 more times.
As you do, naturally.
As you have to. Gotta find the missing spots.
What about you, Tia? How was your experience going to watch The King?
Far out, it wasn't me. I was excited beforehand. Knew a little bit about it. You know, it was all a piece of the puzzle. But went in, and when I came out, like you said, Baba, the world had changed. The world had changed. Yes, to this black cast.
Exactly.
Yes, to this black everything. Yes, to the
black girl magic.
Yes, to the motherland, you know. The scenes there, everything, the colours, the people, the themes.
Everything.
Oh, I was just so refreshed after it. I came home straight away, posted, you have to see this, Wakanda forever, do it, like, you need to know. Everybody needs to know. And if you're only going to watch the action on a big screen, then you'll be fulfilled. But diving in, man,
there's so much more.
Yeah, you just feel like, man, we needed this movie in the world. You know, the world needed it. Yeah. So, you know, me and the kids, and we were walking around.
Saying hello to people.
Yeah. And yeah. So that was us. That was me. That was my reaction. Just totally blown away. I sat on the couch for a bit, you know, talked about the things like, wow, that was mean. And I was just so happy that practically everybody was black.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah. So that was one of my favorites. And then, that what they were talking about, the messages, those are my favorite. I just want to go straight to the end about, what Michael B. Jordan says. So that was
the best line in all of the movies.
Yeah.
One of the best lines in cinema, actually.
And it pulled it off so
effortlessly.
Yes, it wasn't the sore thumb sticking up like he just said this thing.
Just to get it in, yeah.
Yeah,
it was authentic.
Yeah.
Yeah. And because it was woven in, like what he was coming from, it came with you, and then you just realized, oh, bro, yes, I understand your villain ways. I'm okay with you.
It's so hard not to like you.
Yeah, hard out.
Yeah, so those are my feelings, my reactions when I first saw it. Yeah,
I remember for me, when I left the movie, and I remember just looking at because I always look at the posters when I walk on my way out of the cinemas, and I especially and particularly at the same time. I particularly look at the poster of the movie I just watched, and I remember just looking at it and just being like this, and just saying, I feel like a proud African man after walking out of that, just because of
pretty much
everything. And I had the same feeling that I had in the scene on Moana when the Nan turns into the fight.
Yeah.
When she turns into that, I remember when on that bit I was just like, ugh. I had like goosebumps, and I was just like,
glowing.
Yeah, I was just like, this is ours. I felt like
this
that.
Is how it was. Well, I'm hoping how it was anyway.
And that's how I felt after Black Panther, man. Like, this is ours. And then I remember seeing all the photos on Instagram of like all like the African people going to the movies in their gears, and I was just like, yes,
be proud.
Yeah, hard out. Everything about it, and like even I think, and because my favorite character from that was Okoye, and just like how
she's so strong,
just how hearty she is. And my favorite line, I can't say it because it's all in their language, Ngosa. I learned that, which is the language that I think it was down from South Africa.
Yeah.
The language that Madiba spoke, that was his language. Yeah. And then that line in when they're in when Claw gets captured, and then they're in the interrogation area.
Yeah.
And then she's talking to Martin Freeman.
About if he touches your DNA.
And then she's like, she's saying all that, and she's like looking at the disc, and just like that cool rhythm to what she says. I'm just like, yes,
it makes it flow so nicely.
You're the coolest, like that. Plus the line she says to
Wakabi.
Daniel Kaluuya, and she says, and he says, "What? You will kill me, my love?
For Wakabi.
My God. Without question." Yeah, that bit. And I was just like, you're the ultimate. You're the best.
That was one of the smack in your face ones. I was like,
yeah. And I was like, good job, you bloody hua.
Yeah.
Screw you, Wakabi. Yes. I didn't take. It took you nothing to betray your bloody king.
Yeah.
Bloody good riddance.
Supposedly
like a stronger character. Eh?
Oh, yes. And another thing that made me love the Dora Milaje is that, what's her name? I don't know. The other lady, but she was on Captain America: Civil War. Oh, yeah, Civil War.
The
other one, the skinnier one. You know what her name was?
The one that takes
the princess.
Oh, Nakia.
Yeah, she's one of the other Dora Milaje lady. Yeah. And then on Civil War, when she's walking T'Challa out of one of the buildings, and then Black Widow standing in front of the car, and then she looks at it and she goes, "Move, or you will be moved." And I was like, "Oh, frick, you're cool."
It's just like no questions.
Yeah. And then what does T'Challa say? as much as that would be entertaining, or something like that.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Oh, that's a pretty good
I'm
acting.
Yeah, man.
Practicing all his life.
Oh, yeah. Like, me and Baba have been doing this our whole life, speaking in accents, because it's the best. And I remember talking to Baba
Combos.
about the line on Infinity War, when Okoye is talking to, who's she talking to, Baba? She's talking to T'Challa. And she says like something along the lines of, when you said we will open Wakanda up to the rest of the world,
Oh, yeah.
you
I
know.
didn't think you meant like this.
Yeah. And then she says world, and I was like, she said it wrong. It's supposed to be wild. Just because of how because there's that line that T'Challa says, and he goes,
What happens?
What happens? What happens in Wakanda determines what happens to the rest of the world. And I was like, see, you're supposed to say it like that.
It's the technicalities.
Oh, yeah. All those little things, man, they keep ripping me out of the experience. Oh,
Do that.
Hey, tissues. Laughing too much.
hard out. Got actual tears. But yeah, like everything. So, Baba, what was your, I know this would be impossible for you, but if you had to pick one super impactful moment out of that whole movie that we haven't already mentioned.
Haven't already mentioned.
And you can think about your one too, Tia, and I'll think about my one.
It's gonna be hard if you haven't already mentioned, because it's yeah. I do know it's when we are going back to Warrior Falls, but it's when he's already finished, he's already won, and then they just go buzz, and then he just goes Wakanda forever. That part, that exact part, that was when I was like, just without thinking, automatically had to go like that. Because it was just, I think it was because it was all about, they knew their tradition, everything was based around tikana.
Yeah.
They looked mean.
Oh, the coolest.
They had all their beautiful outfits.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is it. This is like, no one can touch them. No one can touch their traditions, who they are. It's just, that's what they're doing. I was like,
and it's cool.
Is what I want.
Because you look at them and there's no doubt that they're African, and their get up is African.
And they're like unapologetically them.
Yeah.
So that was mine.
Ooh, that's a good one. That's a good one.
And you're right, the look, the colours of their gear.
So vibrant.
Beautiful coloured land and water, and the whole thing was just like fed your eyes.
And your waiter.
Yeah.
You just took it in like,
For everything.
Yeah. I said I wasn't gonna be sad.
But you did.
No, I think I have to be, because
it's okay.
This was like, there's so many good parts, like so many changes, like areas of like, but this happened, and then this happened, oh my God. I think it's when he goes back and he's growling. Is it growling? He's kind of growling his dad.
Yeah.
You're wrong. All of you are wrong.
All of you.
Yeah.
Oh, I think that was it, because you can go generation, which they did, with just trying like, but this is okay, this is the way. But now he is the change.
Yeah.
Like, this is the change, and it happens everywhere. You just carry on doing the wrong thing, because even though you feel like, I don't think it's right, so you just carry on, and you see that with so many like leaders.
Carry on.
That's exactly what this movie is for.
Yeah.
Drawing those parallels between real life.
It's real life. Like, you see some leaders carrying on, and you talk to leaders, and like some, that they even admit to you, oh yeah, no, that wasn't right, but it'll be all right. Like, when? Now with T'Challa. That's when, So he is like, now I will right this wrong. And I think I'm going to pick that one, just because we're having one, as my most impactful one. And like, his dad trying to say no, and then him still sticking up for the right, and crying, but it wasn't a cheesy cry where you're like, oh look, this guy's forcing a cry. You could feel like the whole weight of the culture, the tradition was on him. He was about to branch out, change it. So I'll pick that one, but only because we already mentioned that last one.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's why I said it, because that's like an obvious one.
Good scene.
It's like picking a DC villain and everyone's going to pick the Joker. But I love that line in that scene when he says, I have to take the mantle back, and what is it? He's a monster of our own doing. Talking about Killmonger. And I was like, oh, frick, the man taking responsibility as a good king should, even though he wasn't the one who did it.
It's like recognizing your mistakes and acknowledging that. Like, good leader.
Like, ooh, he the man. That's hard for me. Which one would I have to choose? I'll probably choose. Ooh, that's hard.
Make a thing.
One. Yeah, there was a lot. I can't remember the line, but it was there was just a cool line that Michael B. Jordan said, and it was in his first scene, the one when he's in London in the museum.
Oh, talking about like, how do you think your ancestors got these?
That bit.
Do you think they paid for them?
Yeah.
They took them like they took everything else.
Yeah, and I was just like, this whole movie, it's like they just chuck all the PC stuff, like politically correct stuff, out the window, and they're just saying it as it is. With still pulling it back enough for it to be a big movie and all that.
There's a cold hard truth, but yep.
Yeah, and like how he's saying that stuff to her, and I was like, yes, yes, you're right.
It had to be said.
Yeah, hard on. I was like, ooh, that bit. And then this morning when I finished watching it on the treadmill, when it went from the end when they're at the UN, and he's talking about Wakanda like opening up their resources and all that. And then it just that bit, and then it cuts into into the song. I got literal goosebumps and like tears welling up. It's like, Kendrick Lamar, thank you.
You just said 2 bits.
Yeah, it was like a tie-in.
No, those were both that's so right. Because that's hard to do. It's hard to, in the museum scene, it's hard to find an audience of that stature, like museums like that, and then to get to say those things, even though we all know it's real.
Yeah, hard out.
It happened hard out and violently and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. But, you got to be onto it with how you tell people about it. And onto it.
Funny because when me and Kurohata and I we did our work, but he overseas in museums and stuff.
Yeah.
In some museums, because sometimes the curators and stuff, they wouldn't actually know about the tauna puro that we were looking at, and then some other things, and it'll be Kurohata that will say, "Oh, no, they didn't get gifted these. They probably just took them." And he'll say it to the people, and I was like, "Oh, and that's true, but I'm just gonna leave you there."
This is awkward.
So
and it's that's like how you were saying to you, like how they, they wove it all in the right way, where it was like, they were allowed to say all these things, and then it goes to that line that Letitia Wright says, like, "Don't scare me like that, colonizer." was like, oh, fuck, she said it.
She just says it straight out.
And it's, you know, right there in our faces, and it's okay.
Yeah. Oh, no. I think just because of that comedic sort of element with it, I think it made it a bit easier for it to be delivered like that. But I was just like, oh, far up. They went
How
to.
do they do that? Like, yeah, they're putting hard truths, but they're also keeping everyone engaged too and making everyone listen.
Yeah.
I was like, this is for all audiences.
Yeah. Far. There was like, because I was watching some videos this morning. There's this one particular from these fellas, and they're super in-depth, like the most in-depth videos that I've seen to do with like any MCU movies. But they're just talking about like all the parallels. And then there was one that I noticed before I watched this video, and it was in the interrogation scene again when Killmonger and them come and save Claw.
Yep.
And then they chuck that grenade in there, and then T'Challa jumps on the grenade. I was like, oh, Captain America.
Yeah.
I was like, that scene.
There's a subtle reference to that.
Yeah. I was like, I see it.
Courage.
Yeah, that courage.
Yeah, I watched one like that, and they were comparing Captain America and Black Panther. Yeah.
Yeah.
That scene, that big heart.
Yeah. Courageous, selfless.
Yeah, selfless.
All of those things. And I was like watching that video. And then, because I was thinking about like how it was nominated for an Oscar for Best Film. For those of you listening didn't know, this movie was nominated for Best Film. First comic book movie to be nominated for Best Film as well. And then I was thinking like, man, I wonder what it was that made them nominate it. Like, was it them trying to just cater to Indigenous people, or was there some like legitimacy in that? And then I saw heaps of the ideas and themes all woven into it, and I was like, oh, like how they right at the beginning when what's T'Chaka's brother's name? Njobu. When he's talking about like incarceration, and he's talking about their leaders like Martin Luther King
infested with drugs.
Yeah, like all of that. And I was like, wow, yeah, like all of those sort of parallels and all that. And talking about how that's what black people are facing. I was like, how did they figure out the right way to blooming weave all of this in there?
Billions of people all over the world look like us, and they don't have the weapons to fight back.
Yeah, because that's so right. And you have to, now because it's a comic book movie, MCU, they've got like a huge audience, like kids. Yeah. Kids can be exposed to this, and it's so cool that you got to see some politics.
Yeah.
That kids can see and start to understand, because they're taking on their info with all these mean-ass colours, this mean music, these superheroes that are like tough as, flying everywhere, mean suits. So it's good. It's such a good thing that we're in the world where the kids get to see that kind of stuff. Like black movies and to politics.
Yeah, harder. And I love, because I remember thinking hearing when Black Panther was coming out, and then just thinking about like who the director was going to be. And then when I found out it was Ryan Coogler, and I was like it can only be made from a black director. You know what I mean? And
it has to come from that point.
Exactly. And I love, there was, in that video that I watched, some of those parallels that he was drawing to real life.
Yeah.
And he was saying that Bloomin' Killmonger's character and I just gone blank. What's Lupita Nyong'o's character's name?
Nakia.
Nakia and Killmonger and the fella, and they were drawing parallels between them two and Martin Luther King and Malcolm X. Because Malcolm X, like in history, he was about, like, just from what I learned from the video, I don't know heaps, but he was one of those people who was, about like fighting back. If you had to fight back. And then that was, that's pretty much what Killmonger was. It was just like, take the power back and use it against them. And then Martin Luther King Jr. was like the passive sort of approach, like the peaceful protest and all that, which was Nakia, because they both wanted to share their resources with the rest of the world. but they had two different
We
approaches.
could do it better.
Yeah, exactly. And then how T'Challa was in between those two, and he was like,
Yeah,
it was up to
true.
him to decide, what sort of
Which
direction.
course
to
am I
go.
going to take?
Yeah, I was like, oh, I didn't think about that.
Yeah, because they did want the same thing, eh?
Yeah,
And then it's kind of sad that I guess that they couldn't get into Dhaka Killmonger.
Yeah.
Couldn't get him back into like we could do like I know what you're trying to get at, but let's just do it this way.
yeah.
But
I think just all that trauma and anger all built up over his whole lifetime.
see, and that kind of trauma built up could go like into all indigenous tribes of like generational trauma and help others understand just why we are the way that not all of us, but why indigenous
some people
cultures
are
doing what they're trying to do.
Yeah. Sometimes you just get to the point, it's like, nah, stuff this.
Yeah.
And you know what? Sometimes I feel like Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah.
Like just, nah, man, you just want to run that course because it's so annoying.
Yeah.
It's annoying.
Pretty much.
Yeah. It's hard to just carry on with it. Even though, I'm fairer. So I don't, like, sometimes it doesn't, I wouldn't get as much as, some of the darker bros in class, because we still even get it in class and school.
Yeah.
Like, you just get tired. So you just want to be like Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah, and just say, screw this.
Yeah. Nah. Your ancestors suck.
Pretty much. I was
Yeah.
watching these videos about like, because how movies, the other thing that contributes to getting you to feel certain ways in movies is the music.
Oh, that's half the experience, man.
Yeah. So what's his name? Ludwig Göransson, the music producer for the movie.
Yeah.
And he said he's known Ryan Coogler for years. And he's just worked in movies with him, and he did what Ryan Coogler did. He went to Africa and did his own research. All the different sounds. And one of the, all the drums, like, all of that stuff. He says he got all these fellas to use these talking drums.
What?
They're like talking drums. They got the two-sided drum head things.
Yeah.
And they got the strings that cross over. Because when you pull the strings or pull them closer, they create different pitches.
Oh, yeah.
And how they put them under their arms. That's what he used for all of those. So they're talking drums because they're literally supposed to be telling a story with the beats. And it's like digga something. And one of the songs is T'Challa.
Is it?
So T'Challa's got his song, and that's just the beat. And Killmonger's got his own song, but it's more about the flute because it's supposedly like the mystery, like flutes and harp.
Woo!
I was like,
I love those little sort of things like that.
And that motif, that boom, 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 boom.
Oh, yep. Right when there's heaps of bits thrown out throughout the whole movie, and when Killmonger says that line, it's that bit. I was like,
Yeah. The reason for that, so Killmonger's one, how he's the flute. And you've got in the spiritual world how it's more like the strings where it's got "Get up, my son" in the ancestral plane, how it plays in. And then T'Challa's one is the brass sound, so it's like more impactful, like bam bam. The reason he did that motif across all of them, but in different styles, is like to show that they are still related in a way.
Ooh.
But they have their own little
differences,
own little flares to each other. And that's their underlying. I was like, why didn't I study this?
No wonder it feels so good.
Yeah.
This is wine.
Yeah. I was like, this man thought of everything.
Oh, fuck.
That was just so cool. And it's my favorite song in the whole thing is when they're going back to Wakanda And
At the beginning?
At the beginning.
Oh,
The
yeah.
sunrise is happening.
Yeah.
That fellow is Baba Ma.
Is that his name? The
Yeah.
singer? Oh.
Baba Ma, and so it's got all of that, and then all the drums happening, like slowly coming in. Yeah, and then when it goes into the city, it gets faster. And I was like, oh my gosh! And then there's some trumpets in there when he's like when the
Coming
plane's
to land?
down. Yeah, and that's just in relation to like the royalty kind of thing.
Yeah.
Always have like trumpets and brass stuff happening. And then when T'Challa walks out, it goes back into that T'Challa beat.
It's a movie. Just the sounds is the movie.
Yeah. You didn't even need the words. And that's what was mean.
Far out. I love that sort of stuff, man. And I was in this other video, I was watching, and this fellow was talking about the shapes of different areas. So like in like in the palace, the circles was like, to do with T'Challa and all of their sort of whānau, and and it was about that sort of approach, that communal sort of approach. And then when you go up into the Jabari land, up into the mountains to M'Baku, and then it's all real rigid, hard edges and squares. Like if you just look where his throne is, it's blooming like rectangles he's sitting on. And then it's just
open.
And it talks about like, if you want to, you can like dive into him, their sort of rigidity, like how for generations they've just been like, nah, screw you fellas, we're just gonna stay up here. And then I think it was cool how after when they go for the final battle and how he's talking to him, trying to convince him to come down and fight. He's trying to convince him to come for a fight. And then like him, like how T'Challa is like the change in their iwi, for their people, about being the one who's going to open up. And then M'Baku is the change for their people too, because he was the one who came down and jumped in the fight. He's like, he reminds me of Tuhoi, like
they're like actually going to come contribute.
Like the Blooming Ruakenana song, like let the white man fight the white man's war. It's like that. It's like, nah, you fellas fight your fight. We're Blooming, keep us out of it. And then for him, he's just like realizes that they're going to be impacted too from it. It's like, yes.
That's cool that him and T'Challa had the same kind of thought process at the same time.
Yeah. And they say just enough to each other for the messages to come across. I was like, wow,
changing their, like keeping the mana of their own personality and their own iwi traits or hapu traits. They can still come together and fight for the same thing, but keep their own. Because he's, what did you say? Rigid.
Yeah.
Rigid. Yeah. Like a rougher iwi from the outskirts type of thing, eh?
Yeah. Tuhoi.
Yeah. So that was cool. He's cool.
Yeah.
And I like what was the thing? Ooh. You cannot speak over here.
Yeah. You cannot speak here.
I will feed you to children.
He's like cracking up. I'm joking. We are vegetarians.
And he just laughs for like crack up ass.
And I love, because I remember in the Warrior Falls bit when he challenges T'Challa for the throne, and then he says Hanuman, and I was like, who the hell is
Glory
Hanuman?
to Hanuman.
Yeah, and I was like, who the hell is that? And then through like research, I was like, oh, he's a like a monkey god. Yeah. I was like, oof.
Wasn't it was meant to be called, because in the comics or something he was meant to be called Ape Man?
Man Ape, yeah.
Man Ape, not Ape Man.
That was the original name, but because of their thing, like, might be a bit inappropriate, especially with like black people in America, or probably in all countries, being called monkeys and apes and all that sort of thing. So not wanting to do that. But yeah, M'Baku. So
that's so cool that they knew that. We won't do this. And M'Baku is so much cooler than Man Ape.
Oh yeah,
hard out. And like, how cool do they look, man? And I love how when their first reveal scene there, the warrior falls in, and there's the biggest fellas come out.
They're like huge.
I was like, this is like a blimmin' what was that? There was this video clip. It was one with the Disturbia video clip, Rihanna, and there's these big black fellas on there, and they reminded me of that video clip.
Random.
Just a little parallel.
It's funny because when they're like coming out of the cave bit, the tunnel, I just could think of Terry Crews and The Rock because they do the peck thing.
Indeed.
I was like, I don't know if they're purposely doing that or what.
To see how beautiful these people are. Hey, they're so beautiful, built
pretty much.
Like, so just beautiful, colourful, the skin, everything.
Everything, man.
Perfectly put together. Like the music, it's nothing. The music makes or breaks it. Man, I watched this weird movie, and I think they did it on purpose to see if they could get the message across. It had no music in.
What was that movie?
I forgot the name of it. I'll send you guys the link when I find it. But it was so weird, and my mates picked it. I didn't pick it, but I watched it with them. It was just something at home. You know, we went over and we watched a movie at my mate's house. They picked this movie, and it was this weird movie. And I was like, far out, what's wrong with this movie? There's no music in it. Yeah. But anyway, going back, the music, the colours, it was all just perfect gel of everything.
Let's jump into Academy Award winner Ruth Carter's costumes.
Righty.
Where do you start? Because like every single piece of that whole movie was like, top of the line, man. Like my one that I would literally love to have in real life is the robe that T'Challa wears after he gets brought back to life, pretty much, when they're up in that cool roby hood thing.
He's got the orange on his collars.
Yeah.
The rims of his clothes. Yeah, that one was cool.
I was like, that is bloody cool. Because it looks like relaxed, but it looks like formalish at the same time somehow.
It's like, I'm just in my sleeping attire, but you still know I'm cute.
And welcome to this business meeting.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's hard.
It's
colourful. It's it's like but the country is beautiful. The contrast of the land and the trees.
I mean,
you know that we know that it's beautiful.
I liked her idea of not just using like the straight out cloth. I like that she also had to use 3D printing.
Yeah.
Yes. Clever lady.
Yeah. Like what's their mum's name?
Ramonda. Queen Mother.
Yeah, like her, because she had all of that was 3D printed, eh?
That what is it, Silico or something? The one that's based on the South African kind of crown. I wanted it to look like a crown.
That was a bloody cool looking crown.
The shoulder piece that she was wearing too.
Did you hear about like some of the story behind the shoulder piece?
I did, but I've forgotten it.
It was supposed to be from what I heard anyway, supposed to be representative of the sunset and how T'Chaka, the sun has set on his time.
But now it's time for him to rise.
It's time for him to rise, and I was just like, this is bloody Lion King. When the sun sets on my time here,
pretty much,
it will rise with you as the new king, and that's.
And there was like also in the ancestral plane, how when he first goes there, you just see like purple sky, like looks magical as, and that was, some people think it's like a cross reference to the same when Simba sees Mufasa.
Yeah.
The sky is purple, and I was like, yes.
Remember.
Yeah, pretty much. Look at him. I like that. Something else Ruth Carter says in that video too, where she's like drawing on the table thing with
TV. Oh yeah, on that Vanity Fair video.
Yeah, and she's talking about Nakia's 3D dress in the scene where they're in Busan.
Oh, in Korea,
Yeah,
South Korea.
yeah. How she's got
Green.
green, T'Challa's got black, and
Okoye's got red.
red.
Pan-African flag.
Come on. And it's like him intentionally made sure that no one else is wearing the same colours.
Yeah.
Ulysses' claw has blue for the colonizers. I was like, yep. You are not wrong.
All of those little things. What were some of the standout outfits for you, Tia?
There's heaps, man. This is hard. It's a movie full of colours. I mean, everything. It's so hard to choose, but I'm going to pick Nakia's in that scene because I remember that scene and the music came at that perfect time. And I was also going to pick this scene for one of my most impactful movies, not because of the theme or what was going on, but just the feeling, the change, and the boost of like, I don't know, just you come into it and you feel like, yeah, this is me. The change and the world where they're here and in this building, and it's got that lighting, and then they've got those dresses, and Nakia looks mean and green, and that's one of the ones that are 3D printed for her. I mean, how cool is it that we can 3D print dresses now?
Exactly, man.
How many people are doing that now?
And I'm going to pick that for the whole vibe that went on when they came into their scene, and that she just looked mean. But if it wasn't going to be that, but I like Queen Mother's clothes too. They're mean.
Yeah. How cool are her white dreads, man?
Oh, yes, I was just going to say that.
Bro.
Even how she has them tied up. Oh.
She just looks like a badass.
Yeah.
So just that green dress because of all those things. But other than that, it might be the Queen Mother stuff, and then also one of the tribesmen in their green suits, the tribe leaders, and he's got that.
The River Tribe's leader.
Yeah. That's
he looks
Nakia's tribe, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah. That green.
That scene where Killmonger comes in.
Yep.
And he's the one who says, "Who are you?"
Kunkabani.
Yeah. That's it.
Kunkabani. I was like, no.
Yeah, that's a good suit. Like, what's cool is how like everything, like everything they wear, because they've got like multi-purpose sort of costumes. Like, it's not just like, oh, this is just business, this is just, you know, relaxation sort of attire. Like, everything is kind of like like that multi-purpose thing, like I was saying, and they just look freaking slick all the time.
They look mean in formal clothes, and then they're tribal clothes too.
Exactly, man. And I heard about this new term I had never heard of, and it was called Afrofuturism, I think it was called. And that was like sort of like the fusion between traditional African and like futuristic ideas, which is what Wakanda looks like. If you look at it, it looks like
pretty much what it was.
You know, and I heard the production designer, a lot of her inspiration for Wakanda, the look of Wakanda, the city part anyway, was from Blade Runner. And you look at Blade Runner, it's just blooming neon lights and skyscrapers. And then they've got like those grass hut sort of roofs on
at the top, like the traditional ones.
I was like, wow, like just the fusion, man. They did it right. And then when it goes down to the streets, they've got like those hand woven baskets hanging up, like to be sold.
And they've got like a tram going.
Magnetized tram flying overhead. It's like, oh, wow, how did they do it? And like, what I love about it, like if you compared it with Thor and you compared it with Asgard, because Asgard, like we've seen Asgard a few times.
Yeah.
But it feels like a set dressing. But Wakanda feels like an actual place. One movie, they made it feel like an actual place. Yeah, you feel like it's lived in and all that instead of just a set dressing. And I don't know how they did that.
Oh, I wish. I thought that was mean. I like in that scene, the South Korea scene.
Yeah.
And Tia likes the green dress of Nakia's.
Yeah.
I actually really liked T'Challa's suit.
Oh,
It's black supposedly, but it still has like that slight shimmer of green in it, and it's got, like that texture, like that mad ass texture. It's almost in contrast with Nakia's dress, and I was saying to media, I was getting, look at her suit. I want it, even though I'm killed. I want it.
And they just pull it off so effortlessly.
yeah.
Yep.
It's so smooth. They're wearing these quite out there stuff, but they don't, and it doesn't look like that they're uncomfortable about this out there stuff, but they're just so chill and slick.
They can rock it, eh?
Yeah, man. Just no reaction at all. Just so yeah, I know what I mean.
Pretty much.
That bit in South Korea when Nakia's talking to the South Korean lady about letting them into the casino, and then just how Okoye and T'Challa are standing, and when they sort of walk past and just the look, I'm just like, you just look at them and you're just like, these are important people. I don't know who they are, where they come from, but I can't stop looking at them.
It's all in their like body language, and facial expressions too, like the way they held their eyes, their contentness. I was like,
that blimmin' high.
They're just
Keep your chin up.
The bloody carite.
Yeah.
And they know.
They're like, I know I'm the bomb diggity.
Yeah. Hard. And I love in that South Korea scene too, because that was really like the first place where it feels like everything comes together. Or like the world, and it feels like a nexus, where, and it's like a neutral ground away from where they all come from, because there was no one really in that scene who was South Korean other than that lady, and it was like, oh, this is like a neutral ground where you come for a battle, and there was like a little hint at what's to come, and that's the first scene with T'Challa and his new gears. It was like, oh, frack, here we go. And then how, because I saw in this video too, how a lot of the things that they hint at or that they bring up early in the film, they reference it later on. So that was the first scene when they referenced the sand table with, what's his bloody sister's name? I just keep, Shuri. Where Shuri uses a sand table to drive the thing. And obviously later on, Martin Freeman's character flies that ship. And I was like, oh,
that's, because they were saying they didn't need to have that, but there was just like a foreshadowing kind of.
Yeah.
I was like, good plan.
Good plan, all right. And I saw another bit, the bit with when T'Challa first goes to the lab, and then Shuri showing him like heaps of her new tick, the one of those bit. And then then she gives him the sneakers.
Yeah,
I call them.
You know what they're called? Sneakers.
they're like the old American movie Papa used to watch.
Back to the Future.
Yeah.
Back to the Future Part 2. Those self-lacing Nike Air Zooms. Air Mags. Nike Air Mags, they're called. Oh, and I was like, just all those little references, man.
Yeah.
That's a little reference, like the whole, oh great, another white boy for us to fix, like that reference.
White Wolf.
Yep.
There was Bucky Barnes, at the end of Civil War.
Post-credit scene, what?
I think my favourite outfit is T'Challa's one that he wears at the UN right at the end.
With the
with that thing. And then Ryan Coogler wears something like that at the
the premiere.
I was like,
yes.
You look cool, bro. And I love how, because there's heaps of like tie-ins to other things. Have you ever seen Fruitvale Station?
Negative.
Because that was the first movie I saw Michael B. Jordan on it, based on a true story, and it was directed by Ryan Coogler. And even
that was like his first movie or something.
Yeah, I think it was his first movie. Yeah, Fruitvale Station, and it's about Michael B. Jordan's character. A group of them that go to like this New Year's Eve event or something, I think. And Fruitvale, it's like a train station, but his character gets shot from a white cop, and it was recorded on a phone. So it was about that stuff. But yeah, I love how at the beginning they're in Oakland, California, and that's where Ryan Coogler's from.
That and
that's where the Black Panther movement began.
They thought it was Black Panther came from that movement, eh?
But it came out before it.
like 3 months before. I was like, what's the timing of that?
Did Blimmin Stan Lee and Jack Kirby have the insides? Got some insiders.
That Jack Kirby must be I don't know, like a visionary, a psychic.
Yeah, because I thought it came out after the Black Panther movement, but when I saw the dates, yeah, so
3 months off. What the heck?
That's crazy, man. And I like how, because you know how, like I just watched Extraction, because you fellas told me, Baba.
Yeah,
and then like from that, like, although I loved it, what I don't like about those sort of movies is when you have like white saviors, when you have white people saving black people or, you know, indigenous people instead of letting them save themselves. And that's what I love about Black Panther. Yeah. It's like
they know what they're doing.
It's black excellence, you know, and it's, you know, although like everyone listening, although we're talking about like, you know, Africa and black people, for us anyway, as Māori, indigenous people, you know, it's relatable. Yeah, it's all of us, man. We all come from there.
Literally relatable to any tribes.
Yeah, hard out.
You know, and what you just said, we all come from there. Yeah, like everybody needs to recognize you too, white people. You guys the most.
You need to recognize.
Way back in Gondwana land time.
The birthplace of people, man. Come on.
Oh, hard out. Oh, what else blimmin' amazing stuff happened in this? I think we peeled a lot of it back.
We've talked about Killmonger's suit.
Oh, what about his blimmin' scars, man?
Those guys, I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And it's a good choice that they got them to contrast their suits.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean nothing. It doesn't mean nothing. So, you know, we're not just getting this buff guy taking the shirt off for some buffness.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so much more than that. We don't just take, you know, token shirtless guy. Yeah.
It's here's the one shirtless scene in the movie.
Yeah.
Let's not waste Michael B. Jordan's muscles.
Yeah. He's got all that, the layer. I mean, they all got the layers going on for their character, but, you know, each
little thing means something.
Yeah.
And then they were talking about in one of the interviews that I've seen, they based it on actual African tribes from going.
Yeah. All of them, man.
Yeah. And even that, and man, it looks beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. So I was looking at not Michael B. Jordan, but, you know, like real tribes, and seeing what how their placement was, and they're just so beautiful. Even though that'll be so sore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But man, just beautiful. And then it was making me think about what Mystique used to have to go through for applying her,
for her body paint.
Yeah, and that was the same thing. At each of the strips, they had to go through hours and hours for Michael B. Jordan putting his costume together for those scenes. So those scars, yeah.
Yeah, you know what's cooler about that, about like their scarification, is we got our own version, you know, moko, like done with uhi back in the day, where it was, you know, instead of scarring or like raised, it was like indented, you know. It's like, see with us, man, you know, they are brothers.
This is our movie.
Yeah, hard out.
I just gotta get my charger.
Yeah, there you go. And I love how like, because I was just thinking about it now, Tia, as you were talking about like his scars on his body, and I just think about Killmonger's character and how, you know, he put a scar on his body for every kill that he had, you know, throughout his life. And like when you think about, if you wanted to dive deep, it's like he was like physically hurting himself, but through doing all of those sort of things, you know, the trauma that he's trying to, I suppose, overcome, he's inflicting more of it on himself with every one of those scars, you know, if you can think about it like that. And it's like, he was the first. I think he's the first, one of the first characters ever for me, where I've just fully empathized and I've just been like, far out, like, bro, yep, Blimmin', I'm, although what you're doing is, there's a better way. I don't blame you. You went through the shit.
Yeah, yeah, and he doesn't have that same kind of. He doesn't have that same kind of a jokey thing about, like a humorous thing about him that makes it a softer villain sometimes, eh? They put funny things around a villain to make them softer. He's just really raw.
Yeah.
Really raw villain, but they've got those things that make you empathize and pull you over to the side. And I was the same. Early in the movie, just, that's okay, bro. I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because that was hard, and they did just leave him.
Yeah, they just ditched him.
And he was a kid, and he is their kid, and that sucks.
Yeah.
That happened. That's that's my dumb thing in the movie. But I know that it develops the movie.
Yeah.
That's how we had to get that. But oh man, didn't have to be so sad. He's still a kid.
Yeah, because of their fear of being discovered, or the fear of their way of life changing.
Yeah,
and made them leave Eric Killmonger behind.
A 9-year-old kid.
A 9-year-old kid in Blimmin' Oakland, California.
Yeah.
That was sad.
Yeah, hard. And I like the line when Killmonger gets the heart-shaped herb, and then he goes and sees his dad, and he goes to the apartment, and he's talking to him, and then he says to his dad, he goes, maybe they're the ones that's lost.
Yes.
And I was like, oh.
Yeah. That's so good too. And that goes with, when T'Challa gets to see his dad, it's two different sides of it, eh? It's the the other ones were wrong. And that is such a cool thing, because the dad feels so sad, eh?
Yeah.
That he didn't get to go to
take him,
and live over there. So now they're stuck in it's not the white world, it's the world outside of Wakanda, eh?
Yeah.
In that apartment. Yeah.
The reality that a lot of black people face, that's the world he lived in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't remember what the name of it was, like something like the reporter or the journalist or something like that, and it talked about, it's based on a true story, the CIA actually bringing in drugs and putting it into the projects in the Bronx so that it would create all of that addiction and stuff, put it there, and they actually had reporters going in there and trying to blow the whistle on it, and they did admit to it in the news. In the news, they did admit to doing that. I think it was from Colombia, but they let out their. They admitted it at the same time as what was going on with Monica Lewinsky.
Oh, so it just got drowned out.
So the whole world is more interested in this bloody scandal over here and not catching that the CIA is admitting to doing this to the projects. And so it goes. I saw that movie, and then when they were talking about, T'Challa's brother, Michael B. Jordan's dad, was talking about, here we are, and it was real. I went to that.
Yeah.
Fuck, it's so real. It's so because the other movie told me it was. Yeah.
All those other references, and it makes me think about, when was it? It was I think I saw it in the news, but we've seen it all over the place. You go to poorer communities in our own country, and then they have blimmin' alcohol stores on every bloody corner, and takeaway places in every corner as well. It's
and
they're
three next to each other.
Yeah,
they're little strategies of how they keep them like that, eh?
Yeah.
Funny how the system works.
Oh yeah. And that's what's blooming powerful about Black Panther. This movie is it talks about all of those sort of things.
Brings it up to the surface.
Yep.
And you hope that, they're going to make people look into it, and not just say, oh, no, that's just something that they came up with to say in that movie at that time.
Yeah.
Based on, what actually happened. And even
real life.
the best line at the end, that goes to what actually happened,
Yeah.
Some ancestors jumping in because they didn't want to be slaves.
Yeah.
They didn't want to go back and be those slaves.
For those of you listening who don't know what the line is, the line goes, bury me with my ancestors. Oh, bury me in the ocean with my ancestors, because they knew bondage was better than. Oh no, they knew death was better than bondage, which talks about the Africans getting taken from Africa to America to be slaves. And it's like they put it in a blooming movie, and they, like we were saying before, was it came at the right time, the right tone. He was looking over his first Wakandan sunset. So, that sunset could be symbolic of the end of his life, but the beginning of a new chapter for Wakanda. All of that sort of stuff. And I was thinking about that scene too, and how, how before that it was them all fighting up on the fields above. And I was like, I wonder if they were consistent with the sun being on that side. I was just thinking about continuity. But that was another thing I was thinking about too with the movie, with Wakabi and the border tribe, and how those Huas just like that betrayed.
They instantly turned their backs on their country.
And I was thinking about the old.
What was the purpose? Why did he do that so far?
Because
Ulysses' Claw.
Because of Claw, and because he killed his parents, and then T'Challa said he would bring him back, but he didn't. So he was just angry, just angry fella. And then what was it? He was
blinded.
Yeah, and I was just thinking about you have, so in their culture, how they had their traditions was the Dora Milaje, they serve the king, and how she says and whoever sits on that throne.
Oh yeah, I am loyal to that throne, no matter who sits upon it.
Yeah, and I was like,
what are you loyal to?
Those are so hard.
And what does she say? She goes, what does she say back to you?
People. I love my people. I love my country. And you say, country.
No, I save my country.
I save. Yeah.
And I was just thinking about that, how although they know he's a blooming bad dude and they're still serving him, it got me thinking about certain systems that are set up, even though it's stupid. It should be systems should be set up based on principles and morals and values and all that, and it should be just nah, that's stupid. This fella's obviously here to just blooming kill people.
He's no. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just nah, bro. Who cares about the blooming Warrior Falls contest? It's nah. Even though you're of royal blood, nah, bro.
That's exactly right. It's so sad because I so thought that she was going to come over to, and her, we're going to be bad and save Queen Mother and Shuri. But then at that moment I was like, oh, but you can come to the side. It doesn't matter. The throne doesn't, I know it's the throne, but what about for the good? What about the
right? Exactly.
Yeah.
That's how deeply embedded their loyalty has to go, eh?
Yeah.
I was like, sometimes you have to face your own personal morals.
Yeah, hard out.
But that talks to the problems with so many of the systems.
Yeah.
Oh, exactly, man. It should be who is fit for doing a job, and it should be loyal to ideals and all of those things we're talking about.
Sikanga and everything.
We need the right clauses for everything, or constitutions, and that it has to be ruled. Or it can be overruled when there's a problem in someone's heart.
Yeah, hard out.
Not in your heart, yeah.
I think that was Exactly. I think that was a good comment too on how broken their system in Wakanda was. I think it was good that it happened, just to show, like, everything needs to change, really.
And
it's a great country, but
she knew before, and so did Michael B. Jordan, just like you said, Papa, those different ways of showing them off. Martin and Luther King and
Malcolm. Different approaches, to similar ideals and ideas. So I think it was good. Like, although it was super annoying, it was just like, "Fly, you bloody pricks!" Just like that. And then even worse, when T'Challa comes back and the blimmin'
and he knows, like, the whole thing about the challenge.
The challenge isn't finished, and then he still goes, "Bobby!" It's like, "Bloody Bobby!" And I was like, "Far up!" And that was just, that just goes to show how, a lot of times followers don't think for themselves.
Some people can just be influenced.
Yeah. Women comes down to that, being thinking for yourself, coming to conclusions, for yourself based on
using your own logic
and reason, and all of those sort of things. It's like,
don't follow your tribal leader. He sucks.
Hard out.
If he's been an egg,
pretty much. He's dumb.
Exactly, and I think that's a thing. That's a real thing, like, especially in Māoridom, and especially in Māoridom where it's like, respect your pakeke, and it's just like, what if sometimes they're blimmin' eggs and they're immature and they're arrogant and irresponsible, that sort of thing.
Some of them some, not going to say who, but some may be entitled.
I know.
Acting like that.
And they just fall into those roles, and then they continue doing the wrong thing, and it just carries on and on and on. When will it stop? Like, far out. We have to. Who's gonna beat T'Challa?
Yeah.
Come on, man.
You are all wrong.
Yes.
Turn our backs on the rest of the world.
Oh. Exactly, man. Yeah, and I think that's why it's one of the many, many reasons why this film is so impactful for all of you people listening at home.
And that's cool, because there's literally many reasons. There's like something for everyone. There's a scene that hits every emotion, I guess.
Yeah, man.
Like, it's funny. It's makes you cry.
Sad,
strong,
uplifting. Yeah.
Funny parts is did he freeze? Like an antelope in headlights.
I never freeze.
Nakia. Hi.
He is just a boy.
He got kidnapped as well.
Oh, I just love how they talk.
They talk so cool.
Everything about it, man.
They say, like, how T'Challa, he said that when they first were kind of talking about the way that he was going to be talking, that there was a suggestion that, like, maybe you should just speak like with a British or American accent, just because they're unsure of how audiences will take it, like if they'll be able to follow through.
Yeah.
And he was just thinking in his head, it's not gonna like roll well. It won't be the same.
Yeah.
But either way, it has to be this way.
Exactly.
It's not gonna feel the same.
Yeah.
Because you might just, what's his name, Trevor Noah.
Yeah.
And he's talking about like, how funny would that be? You go home and you're like, welcome home, my king. Our king has returned. And you just got someone saying, well, hello there.
I know, and that's over. The time is over for us changing the way we have to be so that it can be more palatable for some other.
Yep.
For the British, like, come on,
especially the American audience, man.
That's pretty much it.
That's just like Harry Potter. Like Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, they called it Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone in America.
I got confused with that so much.
And it was only in America. Everywhere else was Philosopher's Stone. There was a reason.
So is this another movie? Another Harry Potter?
Yeah. Was it like Harry Potter 1.5?
Pretty much.
Right. America is out the gate, man. Like the US. So, I haven't wanted to go there. Well, definitely not right now. But I just don't want to feed into the economy because so many things are happening about this. So I'm like, nah, we're never going to go there until I start believing in
good change.
and then contribute to the economy and not feel like I'm going against my heart. We're never going there. What about Hawaii? Maybe to the other. But we can't use the US dollar there.
We ain't going to McDonald's, that's for sure.
Maybe to the locals.
Yeah.
Go to our country bros over there.
Yeah. But no, America, yeah. I'm glad he did that. Just be real with it, eh?
Yeah, hard out.
So he did that, and his accent is supposedly like come off. He did a role where he was playing like a South African.
Oh.
In one of his early movies or something.
Oh, yeah, no, I don't know.
But he said, oh yeah, I've already had a try with that. So he tried to base it off that and use his like dialect lessons that he got from that and use that to change, like add in the clicks and stuff.
Yeah. It sounds cool. Who sounds the coolest? Their speaking voice in that movie to you fellas.
Okoye.
She's pretty legit, eh? Oh, just from what it sounds like to us.
Except when she said world.
Wild. That's wild.
Yeah. She's just cool.
Yeah.
Everything about her, man. It blooming moko on her head. So, how they all got ball heads, and how the protectors are females, and how
I thought that was cool.
Right.
And how the
King's army is females. What?
Exactly, man.
I saw that in a video. Supposedly they were meant to be the wives of the royal family.
Oh.
Of the royal council.
Yeah.
They were meant to be set up to be their wives, but then that tradition died out, and that's when they're like, oh no, we can still be part of the council, but we're going to be the warriors. And how Okoye, she wears gold.
And the rest of them wear silver. Yeah.
That's a cool little indication. Subtle little sign that she's the leader.
Yeah. That little difference. Oh, yeah. No, that was cool.
And even their costumes, I mean.
So much is embedded into their costumes too.
Yeah.
Like every single bit, man. There's so much going on in it.
And it's cool because it's armor, but it's also supposed to look cool, jewelry and stuff.
Yeah.
I feel that.
Yeah. Oh, that's what I was gonna say. What is it? Young T'Chaka, in real life is old T'Chaka's son.
His son name.
John Carney's son.
Oh yeah.
And he is also the voice of Rafiki in the new Lion King and the Lion King, the live actiony version of Lion King. Yeah. He's Rafiki, John Carney. It's like, oh, that's cool. How they made him. His actual son was him.
Yeah.
He probably
not know that.
He probably had the worst accent, I would say. His son, the young T'Chaka. All of them. So all of the rest of them, they sounded pretty cool.
Come here, my son. Let me get a look at you. Oh, my brother.
I reckon Black Panther's one of the most important movies for the world.
Yeah.
So for the whole world,
Yeah.
most important. It's those messages, man.
Yeah.
Lessons in there. And actually know that they're talking about true things, eh?
Yeah.
Real happenings. Yep. It's mean. It's mean.
Yeah.
Black everyone.
Everyone needs it.
Yeah. Coolest looking scenes. Yeah. The colours. Perfect.
It instantly became my absolute favorite movie because of how great it is.
And for those of you listening, I don't know if I told you, Tia, but Bubba's 21st birthday was Wakanda. That was the theme.
Oh,
tell
man.
us about it, Bubba.
I already knew I wanted it to be that theme. And I knew I just wanted a party, like a big fat party, because it was in Dunedin. It was cold. Everyone was just like, oh, still got studies, but all good. And when I put out like a event invite, I still said it in the way that like a king might say it.
Yes.
So I did that sort of invite, and then also like our mates, we were kind of still in our different flats. So I assigned like different flats, a different tribe. And they had to come in those colours too. And so our one, we were the royal family. But I know that our colours were supposed to be purple, but I actually like orange because of that robe that he wears at the end with the orange. I was like, no, I like that colour better. So then the Jabari tribe, our mates just down the road, and they came in their cave stuff with they had bone necklaces, they had literally like fur, because they were all girls, they had like fur crop tops and skirts, and they had the clay all over them. They were mean. I was like,
did they come and go?
Oh yeah, because you had to come down the back down a little alleyway, and I was like, I could hear them first, and they just go, Mafa! You just hear all these girls just going, ah, hoo, hoo. So they did it the whole way, and I was like, thank you. And they had one of them, I think, had a monkey head too.
Did they say glory to Hanuman?
One of them did. So I was like, yep.
Oh.
Then we had like the merchant tribe. They were different people. There was another flat who I knew came and they were meant to be red. So they were the mining tribe.
Yeah.
Oh, the river tribe, sorry, not the mining tribe. And then just other mates that I knew, I assigned them a different tribe. They weren't in the same flat.
Yeah.
They all came in their cool colours. I put up around the house in the lounge the different, what are those hanging decorations? Paper roll things?
Yeah.
Those anyway.
Whatever those are.
The streamers.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Those and balloons. And so each tribe had their correct spot. Merchant tribe, Buddha tribe, River tribe, and then the mining tribe. And then I did a yari for my 21st. And the yari was those blueberry Summersbees.
Oh, so it could be the blooming, the heart-shaped herb.
The heart-shaped herb. And I assigned one of my mates. He loves like drama sort of stuff.
Was he Zuri?
He was Zuri. He came in, he had the black rope around his neck. He came in a purple sort of stripped robe looking thing. Came in that. So everyone has to come outside, and he did the lines properly like Zuri.
The strength of the Black Panther will be stripped away.
Yeah. So instead of it getting stripped away, I was actually getting it given.
Did they bury you in sand?
No, I buried myself in shame. Because, man, that yardie was a little bit too, like, it wasn't double digits long, but it was pretty long. Yeah, so that happened, and then after all of that, just went back inside. I set up my throne. It was just a chair in front of the black streamers at the window and 21st balloons that were silver for the silk chains.
Yeah.
I think I went a bit too far with this whole preparing for it, but I love it.
No such thing.
Yeah.
No such that.
And I wore this top because this top and my orange, like the African type tops.
Yeah.
It was a hit. It was a hit.
And that's how you have a 21st themed birthday based off Wakanda.
You go right down to that purple heart-shaped yari.
Oh, far out. All right. Any final words before we wrap up, guys?
Glory to Hanuman.
Probably just enjoy it, man. Enjoy watching it. If you haven't already watched it, go watch it. Think about all the stuff that you've just heard and just enjoy it.
Especially the music.
Oh.
Now that you know what each element is supposedly trying to say.
Yeah.
That's it. All right. Thank you, fellas, for joining me. Thank you, everybody, for listening. This is episode 2 of Square Eyes on the Creative Curiosity Podcast. I'm your host. My name is Haunui Tuna. Wakanda forever!
Wakanda forever! Dora Q.
Oh. See you fellas later.